Yes, yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. This is Clash of the Titans, the video series here at Guy Boston Sports, where I go through each and every single ranked on ranked matchup throughout the college football season, giving you deeper insight, deeper analysis, but more importantly, more picks and all these big time matchups. In today's video, we're covering number 4 ranked LSU going on the road to take on number 13 ranked Ole Miss in a massive SEC clash. And as always, guys, I've got some really great picks to go ahead and share with you. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. This is one of 4 Clash of the Titans videos that we're putting out on the channel this week. We already have released our USC-Illinois video. We still have our Alabama, Georgia, and Oregon, Penn State videos to go. So make sure, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to not miss out on any of those videos, as well as our full Week 5 college football pick slate video. And one more thing, guys, before we dive into the actual picks for this game, go ahead and drop a comment down below who you think is winning this game. To me, this is a massive coin flip game. These are 2 pretty even sides. The odds kind of tell you that. It's going to be a very tight game, very close game. I want to know who you guys are tailing in this spot. So go ahead and comment down below LSU or Ole Miss. And as always, guys, we really do appreciate you for clicking on the video today and watching us and supporting the channel. All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk some SEC football here. 3:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, and my first official pick in today's video. I am going with LSU here on the money line. I'm grabbing it from -105 for myself over on FanDuel. Best odds available to me. But as always, guys, make sure to go ahead and shop around for the best sportsbook odds available to you. A lot of great different options here. You can get it for plus money depending on what you have. For me, FanDuel -105 is the best available to me. Right out the bat, guys, let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. I understand LSU, and more specifically Brian Kelly's history in these spots to go ahead and kind of choke it away. As a Notre Dame fan, I know it all too well. These are the kind of big-time spots where Brian Kelly would usually piss down his leg. That being said, I actually do trust LSU in this spot a little bit more than Ole Miss. Like I mentioned, this is a coin flip game. These teams are pretty even. Both have elite offenses, and both have defenses that have been strong, but there are definitely some areas you can go ahead and attack. Ultimately, why I'm rocking with LSU here is I trust their talent a little bit more than Ole Miss's talent. I think Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback for LSU, is the best quarterback in college football right now. He has been better than the rest. I think he is probably going to end up being the first overall pick in this year's upcoming NFL draft. He is the difference maker in this game. LSU, very strong offensive line, strong weapons in the wide receiver room. Their running game has not been great, and it definitely leaves a little bit to be desired. If you look at the offensive numbers, 112th in the nation in rushing yards per game, that obviously leaves a lot to be desired, but this could be a spot to go ahead and get the run game going, considering you're playing an Ole Miss defense that right now is 122nd in rushing yards allowed per game. So although LSU hasn't been able to establish the run just yet, this could be the spot where they go ahead and do that. And even if they can't, I still like LSU because, again, Garrett Nussmeier in that passing offense. There are some weaknesses in that Ole Miss secondary that I think LSU can go ahead and exploit. And on the flip side, LSU's defense has been dominant so far this season. They are a top 10 scoring defense in college football. They're 10th in rushing yards allowed per game. A lot of good statistics, pretty strong pass rush overall. I really like what I've seen from LSU defense. Now, a lot of people have been questioning the legitimacy of the defense because their schedule hasn't been the toughest, which is crazy to say considering they had Clemson in Florida. They've already beaten both those teams. Unfortunately for LSU, those are games that should have defined them. But Florida's 1-3, Clemson's 1-3. Those teams are both disasters right now, and so those wins do not look as impressive right now for LSU. And while we're on the subject of some of the negatives for the Tigers here, obviously Ole Miss at home, LSU on the road, some pretty bad numbers for LSU in that category. They have not been the best team on the road, especially against ranked teams. Ole Miss very dominant at home of late, so there are definitely some statistics that point away from LSU. I'm still going to take the Tigers here and back them because at the end of the day, I think Garrett Nussmeier is the best player on the field. I think he can make that extra play or two that'll make the difference in this game. This is a game that I think will come down to the final minutes, the final seconds. I think it's going to be a very tight, maybe even a field goal type of game. It's going to be really, really tight. I think these are both pretty solid defense. Even Ole Miss, you look at their defense right now, not nearly as good in the scoring department, but there are some good categories. I mean, their run defense, like we talked about, not great. Their pass rush, not great. So actually, maybe I'm a little bit wrong there to say their defense is very good, but there are some strengths to their defense. It's not a terrible defensive team, despite the fact they have given up a decent amount of points in some of these matchups. matchups. If LSU can establish the run, all the better. I think controlling the clock, taking the ball away from Ole Miss is the key. Getting it out of the hands of their very potent offense will be key for LSU. Obviously, establishing the run will go and help that. I don't think you want to get into a track meet shootout with Ole Miss because they do have the offense that can go toe-to-toe. I just think that LSU offensively, I think the running game will be better. I know there's no numbers to back that up. I think they're going to be able to go ahead and establish the run and then utilize Garrett Nussmeier in the way they have been utilizing him all year long. If they go ahead and over rely on Nussmeier, you could see some issues there. And again, you don't want to get in a shootout with Ole Miss. But I think LSU, the key to the game is controlling the clock, which I do think they're going to be able to do. This Ole Miss run defense is not particularly great. That offensive line at LSU is very, very strong. Strong enough they should be able to provide some really strong run blocking for their running back and get that thing going. So I like LSU here. Even if this game were to go to a shootout, I still think LSU has a chance to win. Obviously, it probably starts to favor Ole Miss a little bit more in the event where LSU can't establish the running game. But I think they will. They have a very strong offensive line and a good defensive matchup. So that's the key here for LSU. Establish the run, control the clock, limit the amount of times that Ole Miss has the football in their hands. I think LSU, again, very close game. But I think the Tigers will go ahead and take care of business here and get the win on the road here at Ole Miss and confirm to the world, hey, we're here when this is not your Brian Kelly normal team or LSU from last year. We are going to go ahead and beat the big teams. We're going to win the big-time games and prove we belong here. Now, this next pick might go ahead and surprise some people. I'm going with the under here, 57.5 in this game. I think everybody and their mother thinks the over is going to hit here, and I understand why. Some of these games, look at the last 5 meetings between LSU and Ole Miss. There have definitely been some higher scoring matchups, some bigger scoring totals. But like I just mentioned here, I think the key for LSU here is to slow the game down. Establish the run, keep the ball out of Ole Miss's hands, run that clock down a little bit. Last year when these two teams played, it was 29-26. So it was very close, but the under did cash. This obviously is a higher line. People are expecting this to be a shootout. Like I mentioned, that's what we need to avoid if we're LSU here. And I think that LSU can control the clock here and go ahead and keep the total a little lower. Also, I do think that LSU's offense, their passing offense, as good as it can be, it hasn't been as good as it should be. Like, what I'm trying to say is LSU could be better passing-wise. I do think that Ole Miss defensively, they're not a pushover team. Again, they're not a great defensive team, but they're not a pushover team. I don't think LSU is going to be able to go ahead and score 40 here. In the same way, I don't think Ole Miss will be able to go ahead and score 40 here. That total last year of 29-26, this game could honestly be very similar. 30-27, 27-24, something along those lines I see as a very realistic outcome in this game. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as people think. Now, we have a couple of numbers that help support us there. First and foremost, you have the under has hit in 7 of Ole Miss's last 9 games at home. So when they play at home, the under hits more often than not. Also looking at the 2025 numbers here, for LSU, the under's been very consistent, a 75% hit rate on this under this year. They've been consistently cashing the under. The only game where the over has hit of 57.5 was their last game. For Ole Miss, it's 50-50, right? The Tulane game, very close. It did not hit the over 57.5, but it did come close. In general, overs are 3-1 for Ole Miss, but this specific line of 57.5, they've only cashed it in 2 games, their first game and then the Arkansas game. So I think the under's a pretty good spot here. There is evidence that it's happened for both of these teams. 50% hit rate for Ole Miss, 75% hit rate for LSU. You have that history at home. You also have some sharp action right now on the under because so many people the public seems to be so heavy on the over. We do have some sharp action on the under, which benefits us. So I do think the under 57.5 for minus 138. Now, I did buy a point off. I think the actual line itself is 56.5. We can go ahead and check that. It's actually 55.5. So I bought 2 points on this total. I think that could be the key. Again, you look at last year, the total was 55. Those extra couple points could be huge in this spot. Now, I have 2 player props to go ahead and close out today's video, guys. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Outlier. Everything you've seen here in this video, all the numbers, all the data that I've tried to be showing you guys, comes from Outlier. It's the best sports betting tool in the market. They sponsor a ton of our videos here on the channel. I use them for each and every single video here on the channel. They're a fantastic tool that provide insights, analysis, so much deeper number analytics into these bets, player props, games, totals, everything you could think of. Outlier has it for every single sport. Make sure to go ahead and check it out. There will be a link down below in the description as well as in the pinned comment. Great tool, guys. If you want to become better sports bettors, smarter sports bettors, Outlier is the way to go. One more time, guys. Link down below in the description or the pinned comment. 7-day free trial to go ahead and check it out for yourself. Thank you to LI for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the show. We have 2 player props to close out today's video. All right, guys, our third pick in today's video, we have Aaron Anderson, the LSU wide receiver, over 73.5 receiving yards. We're grabbing that from -114 over on FanDuel. Now, I know I've been talking heavily on the running game and LSU running the football. That's the key. But let's be honest, they're going to throw the football. They're going to need Garrett Nussmeier to throw the football to win this game. It's not like LSU's only going to lean into the run. So I do like Aaron Anderson here, his over in yards. He's obviously the number one wide receiver, for LSU. He's Nussmeier's go-to guy. We look down below here at the targets. He has the number 1 target share, 20.1% target share. Now, it's not a massive difference from the next guy up, Berrien Brown, but 30 targets so far this year. He seems to be the go-to guy for LSU, and they do throw the football way above the league average. It's a heavy passing offense here. Look at the 2025 numbers. We narrow it down a little bit. Again, still high. He's cashed this over in 204 games. He's averaging 73.25 receiving yards per game. And you look at one of the misses, he literally missed it by a single yard versus Louisiana Tech. So although it's technically a miss, as you can see, he's pretty much been through around this line in all 3 of their games leading up to their last week's game, where he only had 46 yards, and it was a blowout win for LSU. But look at the Florida game and the Clemson game, okay? They're tougher opponents. These were big-time games. They went to him. 99 yards receiving against Clemson. You look down below the target shares, okay? Big-time moments. 8 targets versus Clemson. 8 targets versus Florida. 10 targets versus Louisiana Tech. Like, when they've needed to move the ball, when they need to make a play, he has been their go-to guy. Right now, Ole Miss, again, they do rank pretty well in terms of passing yards allowed per game. They're not giving up too many statistically, but there are some weaknesses in that secondary that can be exploited. They haven't really been tested too well. If we look down below, they have some numbers here, wide receivers versus Ole Miss. So you see Omega Blake, which is a great wide receiver name from Arkansas. He cashed his line, had 81 yards. You do see a good number of green check marks there. You know, Kentucky's wide receiver, Jamori Macklin, Harley Gilmore, they both cashed their lines. Kendrick Law, also from Kentucky. So you do see a lot of wide receivers have cashed their lines here. And looking at the top guys, right? So Omega Blake, 61.5. Well, I say that's the only one with the line that high, I guess. Amari Haynes did not. But like I said, the key point being here, guys, you do see a lot of green check marks here. You do see some receivers have had some success against Ole Miss, despite the fact the numbers say otherwise. I do think that he should go ahead and cash his over. Again, he's been hugging the line all year long. If you want to go ahead and get some extra protection, you probably could go a little lower here. They do actually have 69.5 for -136 on FanDuel. The numbers obviously get instantly better when you do that. I'm willing to go ahead and take 73.5 because I do think he'll have a bigger game. But obviously, you guys want to be a little safer. You can shave 4 yards off, and it's only -136, which is still pretty good. And one last key point, these teams obviously did play last year, and he did cash the over. He had 81 receiving yards in that game last year against Ole Miss. He had 7 targets, just 3 catches. So he's getting more targets than last year. He should have more than 3 catches. I think we'll be good to go. So pretty good player prop here. And then our final pick in today's video, sticking with Aaron Anderson, I have him anytime touchdown, which is +120 over on FanDuel. Now, he has not scored a touchdown yet this year, which obviously is a little concerning. But last season, he did cash his over at a 46% hit rate. He had an average of 0.46 touchdowns per game. So 6 games last year, he scored a touchdown for LSU. None so far this year, but to me, that just means that he's due. Also, he did score a touchdown last year versus Ole Miss. Okay, so he had a touchdown last year. That's obviously good from a head-to-head standpoint. Again, you do see the target share. Like I mentioned, he's on the top of the totem pole in terms of targets. And look at the red zone targets here. He's tied for first with Berrien Brown, okay, and, well, a few other guys, actually. But, you know, he's getting a decent amount of red zone looks as well, 16.7% share. Pretty good number of red zone looks. Now, this is where the numbers aren't as great. Wide receivers scoring touchdowns. Omega Blake, who was the top receiver for Arkansas in that game, he did score a touchdown. So he cashed his receiving yard line and he cashed his touchdown line. We're basically hoping for the same thing from Anderson here. I think we can get it. Now, again, Ole Miss right now, 2.2 touchdowns allowed per game, which is not very good and from a matchup standpoint, but it's plus money for a reason. We're taking a bit of a chance here. Yeah, he's failed to score a touchdown in 5 straight games. There are definitely, you could find some definite numbers against us here, but I think Aaron Anderson's going to have a big spot. I think that Garrett Nussmeier will look to him when the going gets tough, and I think he can go ahead and deliver. So anytime touchdown, plus 120, our 4th and final pick in today's video. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Like I said, this is video number 2 of 4 in terms of Clash of the Titans. So make sure to go check out the rest of those videos. Like I mentioned earlier, Illinois USC is already out. Oregon, Penn State, and Alabama, Georgia are coming in the next 24 hours. So make sure to check those out, guys. Thank you very much again. One more time, comment down below who you think is going to win this game. Until next time, I hope you're all winners. Let's go ahead and make some money, baby. Let's go.